Hey, this is a quick review on the E-Ride Pro SS. I'm a mountain biker at heart. I've ridden motorcycles as a youth, but I wouldn't say that I have any experience whatsoever with dirt bikes. So I wanted to give that perspective, and I'll start off by showing you the size of the bike. So I'm 6'2" and about 185, 190, and so this might give you a sense of the size of the bike if you're a similar height. I've read of riders that weigh much more than me on this thing and they don't seem to have a problem. So it seems like it's a pretty capable bike in that regard. Some things before I get to the riding style and getting used to it after riding mountain bikes for ages. The first things are assembly. This took probably about 30 minutes to assemble, but it was really strange. There was a bunch of missing information in the manual. I shouldn't say a bunch, there was a little bit. So I'll start with this little switch here. You'll see this switch dangling from the wires. This is the switch to turn on the headlight and the rear light. There was nothing in the manual about where that went, so you can see where I assembled it on the handlebars. This fender, there were no instructions for that as well, but it's pretty obvious where it goes. It goes here to protect the coil from getting too dirty. The coil itself for my bike came detached and no instructions on how to detach it. So I actually had to affix it in here and make sure it was fully functional. The pedals, there were no instructions for how to put the pedals on, but it's also something that's a little bit intuitive. There's some pegs that stick out of these locations on the frame, and this sort of just plugs in and the pegs plug into holes on the pedal. So I think that's it on the assembly. Other than that, it was pretty clear how to do things. There is one thing you'll notice: the first time you ride this, it goes pretty slow. I think the max speed is 25 miles an hour. And depending on your risk tolerance, to make it go faster and fully capable, you'll go into the battery compartment and find this, and inside of this will be a chip. There will be an actual chip plugged in there with a black loop, and if you want this to go faster, you need to pull that chip out, which effectively disengages the governing system on this thing, and you'll be off to the races. It's super fast. Okay, so I did a bunch of shopping around, and I found the best way to figure out which bike to buy is to just look and watch a bunch of videos and reviews. I'll post a link to this video, but you can see the title here and who published it. But in this video, these riders rode however many bikes that is. I think it's 8 bikes, and they ranked each bike on a whole bunch of criteria. And each one of them gave the E-Ride Pro SS the highest rankings across all those factors and across all those bikes. So it was a pretty thorough test, I thought, and one that convinced me ultimately to get the E-Ride. I was considering the Talaria and the Suron, and I was looking at a few of these others. And there's plenty of other bikes out there, so do your due diligence and have a look. This bike is not street legal. I did look it up. You can get a kit for about $600, and I think you have to register it in Montana. There's a website called $1 Montana to help you register vehicles like this. I'm probably not going to do that. If I get a second moto, if I get a second electric dirt bike, I'm probably going to go with this brand. I think it's called Keofen. They advertise the Keofen as being able to ship to any of the 50 states if you live in the United States and be registered in any of those states, and it comes with a kit already for street legalness. But there's so many bikes out there that, that's just one factor and one brand, and yeah, you'll just have to figure that out for yourself. Okay, so riding style difference that I've discovered being a mountain biker, coming to a dirt bike, first and foremost is where your center of mass is. So on a mountain bike, this bike here weighs about 21 pounds right? It's all carbon. That's a fraction of my actual body weight. This bike weighs, I think, 180 pounds or something like that. So this is, for me, it's basically my own body weight. Depending on your weight, it's going to be a different portion of that. But it's an order of magnitude more weight almost than a mountain bike. So imagine clipping a tree. When you're on your mountain bike and you clip a tree, your center of mass is primarily your body. And so you're moving the center of mass relative to the impact with the tree. And sometimes you can recover, for example, from clipping a tree on your shoulder on a mountain bike. If you do the same thing on this bike, you're gonna move. The bike will continue because of the amount of momentum there. And so from that analogy, you can imagine the different riding style that's required for a dirt bike. You're not going to be able to throw it around as easily or recover from little clips. If you have to put your foot down to save yourself from a turn, or things get a little squirrely in sand, that's going to be a severe impact on your foot, and you could injure yourself. So as the center of mass transitions from kind of being on top of a mountain bike and primarily being your own body weight to the center of mass and most of the mass being in the bike with you being on top of it, those the physics of how you ride change completely, and so it's much easier for this bike to get away from you, or for you to get into situations where you don't feel in control. So take it easy, learn as you go. One of the most common things you'll see newbies on dirt bikes do, and I almost did this when I got on here for the first time, especially because this is an electric bike, the torque is amazing. So you have immediate torque, and because throttles on dirt bikes, to give it gas, you pull backwards. So if you are to not understand the sensitivity of this throttle and pull back too fast or too much, the bike's going to kick up, and that will only exacerbate that hand movement. So when the bike kicks up, you'll go backwards with the throttle, and you'll only pull the throttle more. And you'll see videos of this, people online jumping on a dirt bike, and the dirt bike loops out and they fly off the back. So if your kid or your significant other wants to try to ride this, be sure that they understand how sensitive this is. You too, like the first time you're on this, that's something to be concerned about. And speaking of torque and speed and whatnot, this thing, they say this can go up to 60 miles an hour. Look, there's a chipmunk over there in my garage. Okay, anyways. They say this can go up to 60 miles an hour. On the road, I've only been able to take it up to about 35 before I feel like that's a little too fast for my comfort area, and maybe that'll dissipate in time. But what I felt was that I wanted a bike that has more weight to it to be more stable at higher speeds in order to take it to its top speed. So this bike is kind of light compared to other dirt bikes for it to be going that fast. And it's something that I have to practice and build up to. I haven't been able to take it to its top speed. So you're not buying a toy here. This isn't an electric bike, it's an electric dirt bike, and it's highly capable, highly fast, and can be very dangerous. So this is not a toy. These tires, not good in sand whatsoever. They're kind of slim here. I think the recommendation for dirt bikes in sand is about 4 inches. I think these are 3.5 or something. And so this might be the only upgrade I really make, is I'm gonna get fatter tires, whatever I can fit in this clearance here. Because if you're to hit a bank of sand with these skinny tires, you're gonna dig right in and go over. I almost went over the first time I hit a big chunk of sand, and it's very sandy where I live. Okay, so that's about it on the riding style, the assembly, the street legalness. If you're new to dirt bikes, and maybe you're new to electric dirt bikes and you're thinking you want it because there's no maintenance, that's partly true. There's no oil, There's no gas. You don't have to think about winterization, although you may want to take the battery out and bring it inside in the winter if you're not using it. Because I don't think this charges below 15 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. But anyways, there's still maintenance, right? So just like a mountain bike, it has shocks that you're going to want to service every once in a while. You might even lubricate the stanchions there. It has, a chain. You're going to want to make sure the tension is appropriate on the chain. Dirt, infiltrates a lot of these junctions and bolts, and so you're going to want to keep it clean every once in a while. So, there's everyday average maintenance that you're still going to want to do. Once your tires are worn, you'll need to replace those. It's not 100% carefree, and you want to keep in mind that this is still a liability. It's a vehicle that you're buying that is not an investment, but something that wears down and needs to be maintained. So while the electric motor does reduce a lot of that maintenance, you still want to view this as something that you're buying that comes with a maintenance schedule, and you want to pay attention to its parts and its cleanliness to make sure it's functioning properly to be safe. So that's it on the review. Long-time mountain biker, first-time dirt biker, and this is an impressive vehicle, something that I would recommend for anybody hoping to get into moto. Just know it's not a toy. It's very capable and strong vehicle. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.